when you have Bitcoin and you have to stomach the volatility, which is bad if you're not used to it, seeing your wealth go up and down. Like if you have one Bitcoin and this one Bitcoin is going up and down a few €1,000, which it definitely does in dollars in a day. This means also you make and lose a few $1,000 a day, which can be quite nerve-wracking if maybe you make, let's say, $3,000 a month and then your Bitcoin is going down $6,000. You basically lost 2 months right there. So this can be a very scary thing. But beyond even that, this is what forms a character. But beyond even that, your environment most likely calls you stupid. Your environment most likely says, oh, like, why are you putting everything in Bitcoin? This additionally builds your character to be someone that goes against the mainstream in your inner circle, and even trying to get them to understand the other side, which also builds out your like sales things and like your like human knowledge and soft skill things. You get that, and there's so many interesting. And then obviously we have the whole thing that we a lot of the times talk on the podcast. You get to know about game theory, politics, and all the other things. But I think the character things are really interesting. We test out and create a character with Bitcoin because we're so early to this game. I never thought about that part of combined with character building and with people calling you out and like calling you crazy, and then also the volatility. That's super interesting. Thank you so much for bringing it up, man.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Well, I appreciate you listening always. It's just been my experience because and it's cool because anytime I get to talk to you, I really do a lot of reflection on like, wow, why is it that I've never held a position longer than I've never gone long on anything. Why am I still in Bitcoin? And it's like, God, it is at the end of the day, that deeper character creation. It's like my grandpa used to tell me, like I was a big time, I wasn't big time, but I wrestled in high school, and he would always come, and anytime I'd lose, losses always test your character more, right? Like red days test your character more. Like you were saying, if you're making $3K a month, Bitcoin dips 6K, and all of a sudden you're down, 2 full months, 2 full pay cycles. It's those times where you grow an inch. You grow an inch, and your character grows an inch. And I love the word volatility because it carries on to your whole life. I mean, I'm such a better risk taker now that I've been a Bitcoiner, and I understand now more of the nature of like existence, because Bitcoin's so pure. It's so pure. It's so like truthful. So whatever Bitcoin is doing is probably the closest to truth that you can kind of study. That's why some people get like really religious about it. Even I was kind of going there. I almost had to like stop myself and like go pick up my Bible again and be like, whoa, because I like Bitcoin is so much truth. It could draw a religion to it. And that's really so when whatever Bitcoin's doing, there's lessons to be learned, and the volatility has taught me that that's just existence, and that's risk taking. And maybe this kind of plays into something else. It made me realize there's like hunters and there's gatherers. So what was interesting about like, I think that a lot of people are either gatherers or they're hunters, and I think the best people for Bitcoiners are almost the gatherers because they can put it in cold storage, right? And it's just kind of like the gatherer, and the berries grow and the fruit grows, and it's like not low risk once you understand it. You're at the village and you're just growing your wealth, and it's calm. It kind of taught me that I have more of that like hunting in me. Like I need that risk. I need that edge. I need to go out and hunt that mammoth. And that's maybe why I'm even leveraging, right? Like I almost couldn't keep it in cold storage because I just couldn't be a gatherer. It taught me like who I am as really taught me who I am, like the hunter. I got to go out and slay the mammoth. Maybe that's why I had a hard time just kind of keeping it in cold storage. I think I'll enjoy it more when you could spend it more easier and have it more of a Bitcoin standard and whatnot. Gosh, I had a couple other things, but my mind's going in a million directions.
It's super interesting what Bitcoin makes with us, and how Bitcoin also form society with the low time preference, all those things. But maybe like just briefly coming back to your plan, because I think it's really interesting. So you basically have the plan of like, okay, paying down the debt, and as soon as you hit that, you're like going back in cold storage and kind of trying to use Bitcoin just, I guess, to retire on it and like to build a family wealth and generational wealth in there, which is an interesting mindset of having, hey, like I have this house and the student debt, and I want to pay that down because I hate debt so much. So I'm taking this one risky bet to get that done, and then I'm going on to the path of having Bitcoin in cold storage and do it, how you said, like the righteous path. I think that's like there's probably not a one thing like as the righteous path, but if there would be, that would probably be be the righteous path. Do you also think about the thing beyond that of like, hey, like I want to accumulate that many Bitcoin, and then my family can kind of rely on that one. Then we also have the house, which is also interesting, owning real estate as a Bitcoiner, because you just like know how the, the comparison between the real estate asset and the Bitcoin asset is. How do you look at those things?
Yeah, 100%, Robin. And before I forget, my ADHD brain takes me away. But on the real estate thing, I tell you what, I'm gonna be a little offensive here. I wouldn't be offended if the housing market crashed. In fact, I almost want it to be honest with you. I am like, I'm gonna take a little bit of a I really have I've worked with a lot of young people over the last, being a public school teacher, even as a chiropractor, and it just like kind of pisses me off that young people can't get into a house that they feel like they own. Um, here's the thing: real estate was great when it was 50 years ago, and people weren't making that much money. But you could take out a 30-year mortgage on your house, and it was an asset because at the time that was the Bitcoin of the time, and they made their money, and that's great. But now it's turned into something where only the elite few can have it. We're wiping out families in America because I can speak fully. And this is, if I'm a normal guy, I could feel like I'm a normal guy. I literally have normal IQ. I'm the average. I'm the 95% average. I'm not an outlier. So that tells me, as a family man, that most people would be happy raising a family in their own house, not having to deal with a landlord, not having to deal with somebody breathing down their neck. There's just something beautiful about just having your own little piece of earth to raise your family on. It's not an investment. I'm not looking to make money on it. I want everyone to have that possibility for them. And the truth is just that's gone. And that's gone because real estate's being treated like an investment, or has become an investment where everybody has to rent, or you're going to have to deal with these outrageous prices. I could care less, Robin, if I ever make a cent off my house. I could care less. I'm just going to wipe out the debt on the mortgage and then move on from it. I could care less if my house drops to zero. In fact, I hope it does. So other people can have a house and have a family, because that's the meaning of life, especially for everybody, young men and young women. So it breaks my heart that people can't get into a home. And I hope Bitcoin devours the real estate market. And I'm going to love it when it does. And that's what, $300 trillion? Heck yeah, go Bitcoin. Devour. I love it. Let truth devour it. So, my house is not an investment. My house is for me and my family to enjoy a piece of land, and I'll be here until somebody walks by and notices a strange smell because the old man on the street finally dropped dead. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking to make any money off my house. In fact, I want everybody to be able to have a house. So crash the whole thing. Go Bitcoin. Take that $300 trillion or however much it is, and let everybody have a freaking home and to raise a family in. There's that. As for long term, Ramen, I aspire to be you, man. I mean, you're my inspiration. I haven't put nearly the time needed into being a genuine, actual Bitcoiner. Just putting your Bitcoin in cold storage and walking away from it. What is that? Right? What is that? It's it's a savings account. It's a savings account. There's so much more to that. There's so much more to that. I could never just do that because it's just not me. I need more. I need this as a medium of exchange. I need to get paid in Bitcoin. I need this to be my full standard, right? And I'm Not there yet. I haven't even touched that yet. That'll be a conversation for the future, God willing. With you, I would love that. I'm not there yet. I still got to take care of this. I still playing the stupid fiat game. But when I'm done with that, long term is to be a Bitcoiner, a real Bitcoiner. Not a normie, not some moron like I am right now. I aspire to be a real Bitcoiner. And my kids will know Bitcoin, absolutely. And I'm actually happy that I have kids because they're smart. Because kids and young people are so freaking intelligent. My children will blow me out of the water on Bitcoin. Because as soon as they're able to comprehend more, they're just little right now. But as soon as they're able to actually comprehend what this is, I know that they're going to be my teacher. So that's really what I'm looking to do is be more like you, be more like true Bitcoiners out there where this is the new standard, and I'm far from it. But that's the idea. And I already know, just my heart just tells me that I don't need to worry about a world like that because I know it's as close to truth as possible. It'll be as close to righteousness and truth as it is under that world.
I didn't look it up before. I should have should have let AI run through our last transcript. But I remember some David and Goliath story with like new Bitcoiners and OG Bitcoiners. If do you remember that correctly? That this was with you, right?
Yes, yes, good call. Yeah, that was my gosh, I was, reading through the Old Testament when I first got into Bitcoin, so like my brain was like making all these connections. Yeah, I love that one. That's a good one, Robin. Some people got really offended. I actually made a video on that. Some people lit me up on it, and they had good points. They had good points. When you start mixing religion with Bitcoin, it can get offensive. So I actually, it kind of humbled me. But to strip it down objectively, for sure, I was using the comparison how David basically it's both sides, right? Because Goliath's armor was actually the money of the time. His armor was shekels, which was either bronze or silver, one or the other. But it kind of gave you a peek into history how he was known as such a great warrior because the more battles he survived, the more money he gained, and he would just melt it down and add on to his armor. I was the analogy there thinking if you want to be Goliath, you get into Bitcoin. I'm less than 2 years, Robin, and I went from a brokey to now I'm watching my net worth. I'm playing. I got to be careful because I don't want somebody coming here knocking me over the head and thinking that I'm some. There's far more richer people than me, thank God. But I went from being a brokey to now like I'm playing with six figures constantly. I'm watching my net worth drop more than like my yearly wages from being a Bitcoiner for 2 years. You go from being a broke nothing on the battlefield to the longer you're a Bitcoiner, you become a Goliath because it's just like you said at the very beginning, it generates wealth. And the longer you survive in it and learn from it, you become a Goliath. Your armor just gets so head to toe, right? That was my analogy with Goliath is that Goliath had to start somewhere. He didn't just have the armor right off the bat. I mean, the dude was an old 7-foot warrior that had been through so many cycles. His armor was a freaking inch thick. There you go. Become a Bitcoiner, go the longevity, and you're going to accumulate that wealth. And then on the David analogy was really just you have to be able to, David's whole thing was everybody scrutinized him and doubted him, and he was a nobody, and he came from nothing. You wouldn't even know his father's name. And he was living in a time where everyone was fearful and no one wanted to go out and removing Goliath as the Bitcoin analogy, but just looking at Goliath maybe as like the fiat system, or for me, maybe it's my debt, right? David was willing to go out there and literally die with conviction. He's the story of conviction. And then because of his conviction, he ends up becoming like the greatest king of all time. So the two characters, I love both characters in the story. And if it's an analogy to a Bitcoiner, it's that with conviction and with patience and time in Bitcoin, you will accumulate wealth and you'll accumulate status. Because before all this, Robin, you know what was the worst about being broke? Because I'm not a materialistic guy, not because I'm righteous, but just because ever since I was a kid, I like having nothing. Things stress me out. But what killed me, I'm very selfish in that I love to be generous because I get 10 times more. If I give somebody something and they get excited, whatever they're feeling, I'm on cloud like 9, 10. So I'm very selfish in that I like to give because I'm like, oh yeah, now let me see how excited you are. I couldn't do any of that until I became a Bitcoiner. Now, dude, my wallet is freaking this fat with fiat. Everywhere I go, if somebody begs me for fiat, I literally whip out. I'm like, dude, here, make it rain. Someone, hey man, I have this organization. I'm looking after dogs. You got any? Like, dude, here. Hey, my wife needs something. My kids need something. Christmas comes around. Like, I'm just loving all the generosity that I get to give because of it. So it just makes your life better. And there you go. David was a generous man, and I'm sure Goliath was too. But when you're broke and you have nothing, you're just nothing. And if you want to change that, get into Bitcoin. You're looking at a year and a half, Robin. A broke nothing to a guy who gets to be generous and have money, and people are looking at me, and my students in school are going, man, Mr. Kenny, I want to be like you. You're wealthy. I'm like, whoa, what? It's cool. That's amazing. All thanks to Bitcoin. It's incredible, Robin.
I truly think if you give without asking or expecting in return, that you will get more back than you actually gave. There's some unwritten rule, I think, somewhere in the universe where this is true. And you might not see how you got it back or how you get it back, but you definitely do. It's every time I opt for love and generosity, things get better. Things just magically work out in a better way, and I'm very non-spiritual. I'm not even religious. I'm not at all those things. But there's some weirdness with human beings that if you see someone that gives just without any expectations, like if you give something and you have even the smallest expectation to give something back, you did not really give anything. you just gave him an obligation to give you something back. That's like truly giving something just because you think he might benefit from that without any expectation back. I think this is really like it's probably even like a good move to do. But if you do it as a move, then you're also not doing it just out of givingness. So like it's really hard to give without without expectations. I just want to throw that out because I also never said that on the podcast, but it's very true. It was true in my short little life, this 26 years I'm on Earth. But it's generosity, like actually giving. It lights people up. It's something really good, and people really notice if you mean it or not. Like if you just give it to give, or if you give it to receive something, that there's a huge difference there.
Yeah, 100%, Robin. I mean, we're talking because of I received that from you. I was a commenter on a video of yours, right? Have me on your show, man. I just like watching your videos. I just liked you because you're this young guy. You were like cool. I'm like, dude, let me go on the show. And I straight commented you. And what did you do? You gave. And you gave. And now look at us, 2 years later. So you do live that. I love it, man, because I love when I read the Bible, I read it non-religiously. I was determined to read it non-religiously and just objective. And it's interesting because I'm actually on the book of Matthew right now. And just reading like the story of Jesus. Just again, I always try to put my mind in a non-religious mindset because I do better with my mental construct does better religiously. When I get away from it, I realize a very degenerate type of person where I can be like pure evil. And I almost need to I need to construct the religious mindset to keep me like I need that. No, be good, be righteous. I need that slap. There are people, some of the best people I know are basically you. They're like non-religious. I call them you're not religious, but you're already God's person. I've met so many people like you. It's interesting. I'm one of my best friends in chiropractic school, just like you, non-religious. My own wife, non-religious. And they're just the best people. But what I realize is I'm like, you're not religious because you're already just naturally like God already speaks through you in a weird way. Whereas me, and if you look at all of Jesus' disciples, they're the worst of the worst. They're all murderers and rapists and kill. They're the terrible people. They're the religious people. They're me. That's me. I'm a religious person. I need it because otherwise I'm a terrible person. But before I get too off track, Jesus goes up on this mountain in the book of Matthew. It's beautiful, dude. He goes up on this mountain and literally lays out like 3 or 4 things that are just solid. And one of them is everything you just said, Robin, that you came to without probably ever reading the book of Matthew. When it came to giving, Jesus said that exact same thing. He said, give and don't let anybody see it. That's how he said it. Don't let anybody see you give. Just give and don't expect anything in return. Give and don't take anything in return. And if no one sees it, you're blessed. That's the thing. And I think you made such a good point, because when you give, there's plenty of times you give and then no one sees it. And you might think to yourself, your animal instinct, right? Because I think humans have two brains. You have the animal brain and you have the God brain. The God brain is like the self-conscious brain. Just the regular conscious brain that regulates all your drives is your animal brain. Your animal brain always wants that reward system. I gave, now I return, right? And plus, give me more plus. Need survival, need food, need water, need shelter. Man, when you give and no one sees, and if it happens by you didn't want it to happen, you gave and you just didn't get any recognition even when you wanted it. I'm learning to take a step and embrace your mindset right there and realize you just received a blessing. And make no mistake, it's coming back. It might not be tomorrow, might not be in this lifetime, but it's coming back. So anytime you give, and I'm practicing what you just said, I'm in the process of practicing that. It's hard, like you said. It's so hard not to have expectations when you give, right? When you put the tip in, but you wait for the person to come back so they can see it. That's been my thing. I've been practicing. If I go somewhere and like the little tip, it's like when they walk away, I'm going to put it in. And then so I have to, and then, oh man, when I do that, my gut hurts because I'm like, oh, I wanted them to see it. If they don't see it, if you give and they don't see it, man, listen to Robin, man, you just got blessed. It's way better than when you get that little recognition. Oh, they saw it. Oh, thank you. I gave you $10. The bigger blessing is when they turn their back, you put it in and they never saw it. You got 10x. That's a 10x blessing right there for sure. 100%.
I want to show you something. It's so freaking funny. I think you might like it. I will see if there is. Do I find that thing? Otherwise, I will just describe it. I don't find it. Basically, it was a scene in Seinfeld, and I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Like, it's a very old series. I think I don't know if a lot of people even know it, but it's an old series, and I love it. It was there before I was born. But I discovered it and I'm absolutely in love with that series Seinfeld. And there's this episode where George wants to tip the guy from the Gazzole, where he gets a Gazzole, and he's kind of waiting for him to see it, and then he dropped it in, and he almost saw it, but like he looked away, and then he went away, and then George was like, oh, like shit, like I want him to see, so he grabbed it out again, and then the guy saw him grabbing the money out of the dip jar. It's an hilarious scene, but that's how humans actually work. Like they really want to have as desperately as possible this like, oh, like, see here, I'm a good guy. I tipped you. You should see that. You should say thank you. You should be grateful for that. It's like, no, like if you really want to tip him when he's not looking. He's looking away, then you should put it in tip jar. But that's not how human works. Like that's how, and it's not a lot. Like if you, I don't know, like what you put in there, like you buy good, like a pizza for $10, you might put in like $5. That's already a lot. Like two euros or whatever your currency is. So it's all about like almost nothing in the bigger relation to it. But it's the intent of how you do it, and it's probably hard to actually do it without him looking, because like most in the restaurants, for example, you basically have to tell him what the tip is. So it's not even possible to tip without it. But it's just an interesting small episode. The episode name I just saw it, the calzone and the bottle deposit, I think is the name. If someone wants to look it up, so it's a really fun one. Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast, and if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.